Hey guys, what's up, man? Can you hear me okay? Hello, hello. What up, what up, what up? Just wanted to come on today, share some thoughts with everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Just give a second to get some people to watch here. Hello everyone, this is James Scott. How we doing today? It's beautiful Sunday afternoon. Here we are. You know I've been wanting to do this for a long time. This being sit in front of a microphone in front of you all and get the chance to speak my mind in a way that maybe will get heard instead of through simple text message and whatnot on social media where it's written word and gets passed on by. Well, I want my voice to be heard too, so here's my chance at it. Some ice pop margarita icicles. Anyways, guys, I want to get into this a little bit here. had some thoughts I wanted to put out there. Over the last 6 to 8 months, I've made some predictions, and a lot of predictions over time, and I wanted to put them on video, and I was right about some, wrong about some so far, but I wanted to put some out here, just to get down on the record, so that I could turn to this later and say, "Dang, you were way off," or "Man, you hit that right on. That was spot on. Good job." So let's talk about some predictions I've made in the past. I've put these in Facebook maybe or Twitter and things of that nature. Maybe you've seen them, maybe not. But let's see if we can judge them on what they are. Okay, so my first prediction I want to go over. I predicted Kamala Harris would win the primary election for the Democratic nominee to be president. Somehow, some way, I was wrong. I don't know how. I don't even know how that's possible, but I was wrong about that somehow. She seemed to be the most qualified at the time between all of them. She checked off all the boxes. She's a person of color. She's a woman of color. That's a big part of identity politics. Got to have those two things marked off, right? So that was to be president. Well, lo and behold, Tulsi Gabbard somehow, with a couple sentences, completely changed the story narrative in the media somehow, right? And everything turned around from that point. And the first debate came. Kamala Harris looked like there's no stopping her at this point. She's got this for sure. That somehow Tulsi Gabbard was just able to obliterate that whole thing. And then, as we know, Bernie Sanders was going to win the primary. And then the Democrats realized, wait a minute, we don't want to run a full-on socialist in this party. It's a little too fast, guys. A little too fast. Slow down a little bit. Hold up. We can't expose our true feelings to the whole world this quickly. In a 72-hour period, they switched the train rolling down the hill of Bernie Sanders' win somehow to a Joe Biden sweeping states that he never even visited, never even campaigned in somehow. I don't know how no one's questioning how in the world that happened. How did this happen? How does that freight train get stopped? Bernie Sanders rolling straight downhill for the second election in a row. All those people, Democratic Socialists of America, supporting. I don't even want to go down the list of labels of the people that supported Bernie Sanders that should have felt like, what the hell just happened? We just got screwed over again. Well, in any case, as you know, I was wrong about my first prediction. Kamala Harris did not win the Democratic primary. Somehow. And we'll see that they felt the error in that as I get further along in this. So I'll touch back at another point on that. But you'll see where they felt that they really made a bad decision there. She would have been hard to beat. Kamala Harris on the stage would have been hard to beat. Yeah, she's got some bad things to her name and some reasons for many different communities not to support her, but now we know why her name's coming up now. But anyway, let me get back to that. Let's move on. Prediction number 2. Joe Biden will end up being deemed too sick to run in the general election at the last minute and will be replaced. Too sick. So that was a prediction I made a long time ago, and it still hasn't happened yet, and we're getting really close. And there's some show now that maybe I was wrong on that, but there's a lot of time left for that to happen, and I'm telling you right now, I still don't feel they're not running this dude, and if they do, my prediction number 3 comes into play. They will not let this man debate Donald Trump one time. There's no way we're going to watch a Joe Biden, Donald Trump televised debate. Do you understand that? Do you get that? It's not happening. There's not going to be one Donald Trump, Joe Biden debate. That was my prediction number 3. It's not happening. They're keeping him hidden in a basement, y'all. They can't let him out. No. You're not putting him on TV for 2 hours for a debate against Donald Trump, who can't debate either. But he does do good at a show of making a fool of people somehow, some way, and deflecting his own buffoonery off to other people. So they cannot allow that to happen. It would be anti-strategic for them. This would not be smart. Could you imagine Joe Biden sitting up there with all that time, with the ability to just run wild with his speech, with his language, without a teleprompter? Not happening. Not happening. Okay. So I said Joe Biden will be replaced because he'll be deemed by the Democratic Party at the last minute unfit. Okay, he will be deemed unfit. The replacement at the time of my prediction, the obvious replacement for that prediction, was going to be Andrew Cuomo. When I made that prediction, it was when he was all of a sudden stepping up in the political world, and he was on social media more, and all of a sudden his face was on the nightly news on a constant basis, and I could tell they were pumping him to be the replacement. I could tell they were pumping him to be the replacement, okay? You could see it. It was a propaganda war, okay? They're getting you comfortable with him, and you saw people all over Twitter on a constant basis yelling for him to please step in and take this thing over from crazy Joe Biden, because that was about the time Joe Biden was showing his age and all that stuff. So now, does it look likely? Andrew Cuomo is his legacy has been destroyed in most people's opinion, unless you just don't pay attention to the other side's news at all. Then you wouldn't even know the things that he's done. But I don't know at this point if that's still a logical prediction, if it's even a possibility of happening. Andrew Cuomo is now a different place. I probably made that prediction in May or June or so. Oh, this is the guy they're going to put in his place. Okay, I see what they're doing here. This is it. but hasn't happened yet. And now we see where this is leading to next. Right into my fourth prediction. If Joe Biden is able to keep this thing together, hiding in a basement the whole time, in the Democratic Socialist wing of the Democratic Party just being able to kick back and say, you know what, let him take this thing. If he's just not nuts and doesn't show himself off too much, and we don't expose his inability, if we don't expose his mental incapacity to produce and to act and to manage and to be a general, right? If we don't expose that too much, we'll let him keep this thing. We can run it through his administration. We can run this whole change of America that we want through his administration. And that's who I think the powers that be of the Democratic Party are. I think that's kind of obvious. And Joe Biden just happened to be the easiest person they thought may have the best chance of squeaking through, because all you need is a sane person that doesn't say much, okay, that shows some stability to beat Donald Trump. Probably he's not the one. He doesn't have that stuff, so they have to hide him now, and they see that. But they're gonna make the most important thing in this administration's run up to the election, the chance to have an administration. They're going to make this the biggest pick. This is the biggest vice president pick in the history of vice president picks since Adams, maybe. Okay, so this is a very important vice president pick. So who, if Joe Biden is able to retain this thing, does he pick to be his vice president running mate? I believe that pick will, no doubt, be Kamala Harris. And showing that their error, the error that they now realize was made in somehow dumping her just because Tulsi Gabbard got her on some things. I don't even remember what it was now off the top of my head. I don't remember what it was Tulsi Gabbard destroyed her on, but it had to do with racial stuff and the busing thing, I think, whatever it was. I have to go look it up real quick, but I know, whatever. Kamala Harris will be Joe Biden's vice president pick. Okay? That's the smartest thing he can do at this point. She checks all the boxes previously mentioned. She's a former prosecutor. She can pretend that they will be tough on stopping the lawlessness of riots. So she may try to pull from the middle some on that. She'll suffice the left, having the first woman African American vice president in history. Identity politics, very important, right? For some reason. Mental capacity, no, not important. Your identity, your race, very important. So you see where they wish they had Kamala Harris just to be their dang president. But man, at least we can get her in as this now. That's where I'm going with that. All right, next prediction. This should be prediction number 6. After months of shutdown for COVID-19, the media will switch the narrative from "we need tougher shutdowns and mandates" to "why did you do all of this for just this measly virus?" Once the virus is shown to be not as dangerous or overwhelming to the system as we thought it was going to be. Obviously, this prediction was made a long time ago in the beginning stages of this. I said this thinking this by now would even be the narrative. I thought the media is literally going to switch this thing up to yelling at him all the time for not being tough enough for some reason, even though he shut the complete economy down for a 15 day to flatten the curve shutdown. What day are we on now? 100 and something. 15 day to now. Today's August 2nd, folks. So hear me out. After months of a shutdown for COVID, the media would switch the narrative from "we need tougher shutdowns and mandates" to "why did you do all of this for this measly virus? You destroyed American success and put all these companies out of business just because you're worried about another little virus?" The previous administration faced many viruses and never blinked, never flinched, rolled right through it. Look at you, so scared, Donald Trump. That hasn't happened yet, but dang, it's going to at some point. Maybe not, I don't know. They're sticking with this so far, maybe because, okay, so the point in this is they have to be the opposite always, right? They have to be the opposite of what he says. They have to say the opposite of what he says, no matter what. They have to be contradictory to his statements. So they have to do the opposite of what he does. So at the beginning, when he was saying this wasn't much of a shutdown, this wasn't much of a scare, this wasn't going to be that much of a problem for the United States. At the beginning, when he was saying that, the media used that against him and made every little possible chance they could. They took it to sensationalize the problem and exacerbate it, make it. That's when people say it was a hoax. They don't mean it was fake virus. They mean it's being sensationalized in order to damage the administration. I think that's been obvious over the months. And now we're here, well into the summer. People are still using it against him and afraid to open. Now the mask debate has become the topic. Like we're a bunch of kindergartners. We're just trying to find something to use against the other side. The mask debate. My mom always said, if I masturbate, hair would grow on my palms. It's not good. Okay, last but not least, this one's a doozy. This one is a doozy, folks. I don't even know how to get into this one. I've been going for a minute here. Let's see. 20 minutes deep. Let's go. I hope you guys are hanging in with me here. This last one is a big one, okay? This is my 7th prediction on record. Does everyone know who Keith Ellison is? Keith Ellison. Do you know who Keith Ellison is? Do you know his history? Do you know his past? Keith Ellison. Okay? The radical Keith Ellison. If you don't know who he is, go look him up. Keith Ellison is an American politician and lawyer serving as the 30th Attorney General of Minnesota, a member of the Democratic Former Labor Party. Radical member of the Democratic Farmer Labor Party. If you don't know what that is, because it's not even heard of, because it's so radical. Ellison was the U.S. representative for Minnesota's 5th Congressional District. He was a congressman from 2007 to 2019. He served as the deputy chair of the Democratic National Committee in 2017 till 2018. He lost to Tom Perez, which says something about Tom Perez, but Ellison has a long history of activism and the type that I disagree with. That's all. I could share some information on his past, but he's someone I've followed for a long time. When I say a long time, folks, I'm talking 15 years, 10 years, 15 years, okay? Keith Ellison, 10 years probably with him. But somehow he just happens to be the Attorney General in the state where George Floyd was viciously murdered. Okay? Crazy ass coincidence. It somehow happened. So you have Keith Ellison as Attorney General, the top cop in the state where George Floyd was murdered. Keith Ellison's number one mission in life right now is to get Donald Trump out of office and replace the administration with something other than American. Okay? I'm talking about other than capitalist, traditionalist American. Okay? He is a Keith Ellison is a radical. Keith Ellison is an extreme radical in government, in place in government. Okay? Now the Attorney General just so happens to be in the same state where the trial for George Floyd is going to be held. The trial for the murder of George Floyd will be held, and the conviction, which is probably one of the most important convictions in the history of modern United States law. Okay, this is a highly, extremely important conviction. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what will happen? Can you imagine what will happen if that jury in that trial came back with a not guilty verdict? Can you imagine what would happen? Scary thing, right? If that jury came back with a not guilty verdict, I feel chaos ensues. The riots we've seen are nothing compared to that. And we see destruction and extreme splitting of the nation. So not something I ever want to hopefully have to see come out. But what does that have to do with Keith Ellison? So Keith Ellison, in charge of, I guess, the prosecution of this. I'm not highly knowledgeable in law and how this works exactly, but I understand the basics of how this goes. So Keith Ellison is the one who set the charges for, what the hell was his punk ass name? Officer Chauvin, whatever. And people were shocked that, maybe that he would go with murder instead of like a manslaughter or something like that. And that made people maybe happy, and I understand it was like a plain day sight murder. Nobody argued any of this. Everyone agreed it was cold, vicious murder. So why not charge him with murder? Well, murder is a hard thing to get a conviction on, compared to like a manslaughter charge and all the other things you could have got him on. There's multiple charges that could have come of it. But to go not only with murder, but not third-degree murder, he's going to go with second-degree murder. Not that we all don't hope that whatever murder he gets charged for, they don't take him out on the chopping block and just decapitate him. I know you all want it. I know. Me too. We're not against. Please understand what the point of my conversation is. I believe that Keith Ellison, who surprisingly just so happens to be the Attorney General of the state where George Floyd was killed in, who decided to go with murder, second-degree murder, which has some implications to it, right? You have to meet a threshold of things, some facts here. Okay? He went with second degree, not even third, second. That's a dangerous idea. So my prediction is that he purposely is making a guilty conviction almost impossible as to set the whole world on fire to help turn an election. A non-guilty verdict is almost impossible in this case, okay? A non-guilty verdict is almost impossible in this case in front of any jury. Unless you put it up against unreachable charges. Unless you put it up against something that can be destroyed by a defense attorney. Danger, folks. This is a warning. If this happens, please remember I said this. Please remember I said this. This could have been done on purpose. I really feel it. Would Keith Ellison risk not getting a guilty verdict on this animal just to destroy the fabric of the United States? Fuck, absolutely. Absolutely he would. If you know Keith Ellison, absolutely he would. A non-guilty verdict in this atmosphere and a jury of your peers is almost impossible. And we all know it. But if you make it to where he has to meet certain thresholds, premeditated murder and all these things, we're going to rely upon the stories that we've heard, right? About them knowing each other from the bar they worked in together, and that this could have been a personal grudge that they had on each other, sort of. You know the story, I hope. I hope you guys looked into it deep enough to know this part of it. That's the only part of it that made me feel maybe this prediction could have been off a little bit, because maybe there's something there about the predatedness, the planned out, not planned out, but at least they maybe had a grudge against him in one way or another, or had certain feelings about him. It wasn't just a random, sporadic killing. But we have to all understand what this the charge is levied against the animal is. We have to understand what those charges are. And I don't know them deep enough yet. I'm just giving you my predictions. Now, I haven't gone and looked into what the answer is to what the exact charges are placed against him. But from what I heard and what I remember, what I understand, I was like, dang, they're reaching. Oh, don't go reaching for something higher. You just got to make this swift and clean. You know? Sharpen those blades and split splat. But no, don't leave it up to the powers that be to mess this thing up, so that there's not a reason to set the streets ablaze. Now, I don't know the dates for this trial and how that's all looking. I probably should go look that up, but I have not, so I don't know how close we are. But could you imagine, is it before the election? Is it after the election? When is this trial set for, I wonder? I'll find that out and I'll report back. But in the meantime, I thank you for joining me on these predictions I've put out there and helping me to get it on the record. And this is my first chance at getting the opportunity to do this before, so I wanted to see if it was something I could do. And I don't know, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty comfortable. So I wanna thank you all for listening. And next one I make here, hopefully you chime in and let me know what kind of things I can talk about, and let me give it to you from a different perspective. Somebody who you all know and grew up with, and know you can trust, hopefully, and will get to trust me if not. And just know that this is hopefully what I get to do one day. This is my dream. All right. Well, have a good Sunday and enjoy the rest of your weekend, y'all. Peace out.